So I'd like to call to order the Cunningham Township Board Special Joint Meeting. It's Monday, July 8th, 2019. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council members Brown. Here. Hazen. Hersey.
Here.
Jacobson. Miller. Roberts. Here. Wu.
Here.
Mayor Marlin.
Here. Is there any public input for the Urbana City Council Cunningham Town Board Special Joint Meeting? Seeing none, are there any changes to the agenda? Mary Alice Wu.
I would like to propose that we move the closed session to another meeting, perhaps the following week, or perhaps the next time the township meets. I'll leave that up to the discretion of the clerk, the mayor, and the township assessor.
Is there a second?
I second it on all that.
Okay. Moved by Mary Alice, seconded by Sharice. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. And that's item B, by the way, under new business. All those,
Aye.
all those opposed? Okay. Item B will be moved to a new date to be determined. The only other item of business under new business is consolidated social service funding allocations. Since I was absent last week, can someone remind me of where this was left? Sheila, would you like to report?
Sure. When it was left at the last meeting when you were here, council members gave me their vote on where they would like to do the social services. So they agreed to change the CU fair allocation to $7,500 and allocate that $5,000 to YAC. And then they also gave me their suggestion on recommendations for STEP and Truce, and I took their recommendations and did an average. So that's where I come up with the $2,500 and the $3,500 for STEP and Truce. Youth Assessment Center is $5,000. CU Fair Volunteer is $7,500, and then we increased SRAC to the $7,500.
Okay. Any discussion? Mary Alice.
So one of the big points of conversation that we had was on Step and Truce last week, specifically because Step and Truce had quite incomplete applications. And so without Danielle here, I'll say just on behalf of the committee, one of the things that we did was we did not consider applications that were not complete. So we've had this conversation. I know that Danielle was concerned about that. I'm concerned about that as a committee member. One thing that did come up in all of the conversations with the testimony as well as other people talking was that Truce, the amount of money the Truce would be matched, I think, up to $4,000, and that was something that I didn't recall that from my review of the application, but I was glad to hear that. The other conversation was in terms of rapid response, emergency funds. Could an emerging organization be able to apply for that? And so it was suggested that yes, that we should have some process in place for emerging organizations. So hopefully we can give a little bit of seed money to organizations that are building themselves throughout the entire year and don't have to meet that specific time point of the end of February to April. And then, you know, if they're not in that window, then they have to wait another year. With that said, I think that we could use STEP as kind of a pilot for that. I hesitate to provide $2,500 or because they are such a new organization. And I think if I remember correctly, they were formed in February.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's correct.
Right. And I would like to see us have actual items that we can help them achieve with that money. And so I would say that we should start a process of defining over the next month or so what does that rapid response cycle look like, and to be able to set aside a little bit of money for those emerging items. I know I'm not with the majority here, but that is my suggestion.
Oh, I'm good. I forget who's chairing. To that point, Danielle and I also had a conversation before this other issue arose that we would meet once this year's funding allocations were settled. We would meet sometime later this summer along with staff and talk about process going forward, and that could be part of that conversation because there have been concerns raised, and it's we still have to refine this process. It's a lot better than it was, but, you know, we're getting there. But anyway, that'll be, I think, a conversation certainly we can have later this summer. But we got to take care of the special events thing first. So, Sharice.
Okay, so are we saying that we're going to put STEP off and give Truce funding, or no? Or neither one of them?
That was my suggestion, is to give STEP the 3,500 to match, so they can get those matching funds for
You mean
training.
Oh, give Truce?
Truce, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, thank you.
That's okay.
And then to work on a way for STEP to apply for some money, and
Later on as the year goes?
As the year, yeah.
So as they build on their goals and...
yeah,
what they're trying to
I
do.
just, off the top of my head, I remember them saying that they needed to figure out a way to audit their system. They didn't have any way of auditing, so they wanted to use this money to audit the whole thing. I was like, well, I think it would be helpful if they sat down with somebody to kind of craft, like, this would be a good use of those funds to help you grow that organization. So that's what I'm saying.
Is there
Okay.
we don't have a motion on the floor yet. Does anyone care to make a motion on?
Is this a motion?
It would be a motion to direct staff to allocate per.
Okay, I will make a motion that we allocate per the City of Urbana, Cunningham Township Consolidated Social Service Funding Fiscal Year 1920 recommendations, and omit STEP, 2,500, with a conversation with them and with staff on how to get them startup funds.
Is there a
I'll
second?
second.
Moved by Mary Alice, seconded by Bill. Further discussion.
Yeah, so, yeah, I thought maybe that 25,000 was just such a small amount.
2,500?
20,000?
2,500.
Oh, no, okay. 2,500, yeah. It was such a small amount that we could just chance it on the new organization because they seemed very enthused by their energy. But if there's a way that you're building to give that to them down the road this year yet, in this next fiscal year, then I can support that.
I would like to share information. I think we've shared it before, but the City of Urbana employees personally have fundraised for STEP, and they raised $1,500 to buy Chromebooks for the students in the class. This came out of their own pockets. It wasn't city funds. It included individual employees, the police and fire organizations as well. So there's been a very generous gift from City of Urbana employees to help get this program off the road, specifically to buy Chromebooks.
Yes, I remember that. And Courtney was very grateful.
So we have a motion on the floor and a second. Any further discussion? Does this require roll call?
No, it's just a direction to staff.
Direction to staff. Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion passes. We have direction. Thank you very much. We are adjourned.